So at some point, this came across my attention. Jubilee interviewed an incel in an Ask Me Anything session. Jubilee claims that being single, conservative, and male is radical thinking. I want you to take a look at some of the clips of this video, which I will be reacting to. This is sort of a reaction video and commenting on, because what Jubilee calls an incel, what Jubilee calls radical thinking, is really just a normal, traditional male with conservative values. You see, that's how far down the loony bin that leftists have gone.
Probably wouldn't be supportive of it, honestly, but...
Why do you say that, if you don't mind me asking?
I do think that, you know, men should be the leaders and women should be the caregivers and the loving, supporting, and the teachers in some cases.
You see how radical his thinking is? How insane! Men should be leaders. Women should be caregivers. Oh my God, call the police! Women are being oppressed. Oppression! Not only is there literally nothing wrong with what he just said, there's nothing radical about it. It's been the traditional model for family and humanity for thousands and thousands of years. It is also the most successful model. And when you get rid of that model, you end up with, well, I don't know, single, old, depressed men and women who don't have families and die alone. Kind of like the next woman on this interview.
Since women of color, or just women in general, have been oppressed by certain systems and other oppressed communities, especially LGBTQ+, all those don't really fit with the spectrum that incels or you have been talking about.
So she's making the claim that women are oppressed. They are not oppressed. Women of color are oppressed. They are not oppressed. There's no such thing. Women have had equal rights for far too long, if you ask me. Oh my God, you incel. No, but for real. Women have been equal for a long time, and what has it had but disastrous effects for both women and men? Studies have shown that ever since feminism and equal rights, women are unhappier, women are more lonely, women end up alone more often, and society isn't doing so good either. Women will always vote for their biological imperative, which is to be taken care of. And without a man in the picture, they often vote for the government to take care of them, ultimately voting for socialism, left-wing policies, democratic policies, and basically ruining your country. I'm just saying. The data shows women are not happier despite having more freedom. What does that tell you? Don't cry to me, cry to the women. The women are the ones who are unhappy. So no matter how much the single whine aunt women with their 10 cats say that they're not unhappy, they're living their best life while they watch from afar, while all the other have loving families with devoted husbands. And they're all alone.
So why do you think your method of thought would help fix what we have today?
I probably wouldn't view the things that you might view as oppression. I have a feeling.
Look at her stupid face. Look at her believing that she knows everything. Oh my God, you stupid little boy. You don't know anything. My leftist professor at my overpaid university told me in my gender studies class that women are oppressed. How dare you? Being a wife is oppression. Being a mother is oppression. Taking care of your man is oppression. I'm a strong, empowered female woman.
I would view it more as how we treat children that we love. We control them, but we...
Do you see that face she makes? Like she has no idea what this guy is talking about. The concept of a family does not register in her tiny brain.
Control them lovingly, not as a slave, not as we're forcing them to do things against their will. I would view it more as a loving domestic thing in the past. And I would say that if...
This woman gets on my nerves. She makes all those faces. She's not considering his argument at all. She's not listening. She's the type of woman you don't touch because you know you're going to get a disease.
If we were to do it in a civilized way, maybe in a more, even a Christian way, even though I'm not really advocating for a certain religion or ideology, I would assume that women would probably be happier. And I wouldn't just assume that blindly. I would assume that based on the data that I have seen.
What data have you seen that has brought you to this conclusion? Because I'm now curious where I can get this data from.
I couldn't reference it offhand, but I believe there was a study that I can't remember the name of it off the top.
So do you see the way that she's touching her chest like that? That's a sign in women, especially women are vulnerable to it, because of the vagus nerve which runs around along that area, that she's nervous, that she feels bad about something. Deep inside of her convoluted brain, something he's saying is ringing true, and it creates self-doubt. She feels it. Now, maybe she could hide it from everyone else, but she can't hide it from me. And this part annoys me. She asks him if he can remember the data where he got that from, and he's like, well, I don't remember off the top of my head. And everyone, including in the comment sections, use this as evidence that, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So, it only takes one Google search to get you this paper. The National Bureau of Economic Research. The Paradox of Declining Female Happiness. The lives of women in the United States have improved over the past 35 years. Yet we show that measures of subjective well-being indicate that women's happiness has declined both absolutely and relative to men. The paradox of women's declining relative well-being is found across various datasets, measures of subjective well-being, and is pervasive across demographic groups and industrialized countries. Relative declines in female happiness have eroded a gender gap in happiness, in which women in the 1970s typically reported higher subjective well-being than did men. These declines have continued, and the new gender gap is emerging, one with a higher subjective well-being for men. This is just one. And this is the one I always cite. Women are unhappier since feminism. Women are unhappier since just the 1970s. And women are far more unhappy than men are. Maybe all that feminism and female empowerment. Ooh, maybe it wasn't what was good for you all along. But you're free to do whatever you want. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why you clutch your chest.
What do you think it is about liberal areas that create behavior in women that you think is a problem?
Promiscuity leads to increased standards.
I love that clip. I love it. I absolutely love it, because she's like, what do you think about liberals that leads to bad consequences? And he's like, promiscuity. And we all know this. And she makes that face like, oh, here we go. I knew it. Of course. Yes. Sleeping around is not good. Okay. You increase your risk of STDs. You increase your risk of getting pregnant. And for a woman, that's far more serious, because men can just leave. Now, I'm not saying they should. I'm saying they can. A woman either has to get rid of the baby or live with it. Yes, it's real life, folks. It's real life. And he's right. These are not radical beliefs. This is common sense. This was traditional conservatism and common sense for the past 40 plus years. This used to be the norm. This is the norm. This is how normal people think. But this is what they're calling radical.
In more primitive aspects, such as looks. And that typically makes it harder for some people to find a relationship, including sometimes good-looking people. There's guys who are much better looking than I am who are having a really hard time finding someone in a place like LA or in London.
So what he's talking about is very simple. Your looks in your inbox. This is archived because OkCupid deleted it because it blew so many women out of the water and exposed them for what they really are. So when males rate females on attractiveness, they do so on an even bell curve, saying most women are average, some women are attractive, and some are least attractive. However, when females are asked to rate who they see as most attractive, they say that 80% of men are below average and 20% of men are good looking. As you can see from the gray line, women rate an incredible 80% of guys as worse looking than medium. Very harsh. So women are shallow. They all chase the top 20%. And this 80-20 thing it's a real thing. Pareto's law. Pareto principle or law of the vital few, stating that 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. So just like that, women are chasing the 20% of men. This is a common law. It's well known. It's reflected. Women are very close to their nature, very close to their genetics, and honestly very shallow.
Or in Auckland, New Zealand. But they probably would have a perfectly fine time finding a woman somewhere else.
So you think that promiscuity is the problem, and if people were more monogamous and more withholding, that would sort of fix society?
Yes. Yes, it would. It literally would.
Yeah, I suppose people were more traditionalists.
There have been a few mass shootings in the past where these shooters actually stated that they were incels or were radicalized.
This literally never happened. Literally never happened. There's not a single person, not a single criminal out there who ever stated that they were incels. This was a false media narrative literally overnight. I'm gonna prove it. This whole video has been me proving shit. I'm gonna prove it. So if we look up the term incel on Google Trends, And we go from 2004 to present day. Here you can see 2004 all the way to 2018, incel was virtually flat. Nobody used this term. And then in 2018, suddenly it spiked. And this is when the media started pushing a bunch of bullshit stories about incels and the threat online, literally overnight. So this is proof that incels is just a media phenomena. It's a label. It's something they pulled out of their ass. It was the new insult to single men, like virgin. It's just another label, and it's absolutely meaningless.
Was there like a pivotal moment in your life, like a straw that broke the metaphorical camel's back?
You know, it's constant years of rejection, no matter who the person was, constant years of rejection in other aspects of my life. It did kind of push me towards more, I suppose, radical beliefs, but I suppose they're only like radical, but they're more just old beliefs, really.
And here he points out what I've been saying. His beliefs are not radical. His beliefs are traditional and conservative. There's nothing radical about them. The left has gone so far left that they actually believe that normal thinking based on biology is insane. Conservatism is built on biology. Men are supposed to hunt and provide and lead, and women are supposed to take care of the man and the family and give birth to children and be a wife and be a mother. That is biology. That is how it works. Do you need another biology lesson?
One of the common criticisms about the incel community is that you feel entitled to sex or intimacy. Do you believe that you deserve sex or intimacy from a woman?
I think everybody at some level deserves someone that loves them and, you know, respects them, as long as you are also loving and respectful towards that person, you know.
Men only want one thing, and it's terrifying. Love and companionship. You know, that's the thing about the female mind. What a lot of men don't know about women is if you're not a 8 out of 10 or higher to them, you don't exist, you're trash. In fact, if they think you're below their league and you try to go after them, they think it's an insult. They literally think it's even if a woman is a 5 out of 10 and they think you're below their league, they feel insulted and that you should just die. That is the female mind. Don't believe me? Well, you'll learn. They'll never admit it, but you know, you'll end up getting divorced or stolen from or cheated on. I mean, it's a tale as old as time. I've seen it happen. I'm not saying all women, just 80%.
If you can tell the world about something about being incel that, you know, that may not be in the internet or that's overlooked heavily, what would it be?
I don't know. I think it's mostly that most of the men are not inherently bad people. A lot of them are just lonely. They just need some help, really.
Okay. Would you say that there's anything that other people can do to help guide or just support or anything?
You know, the lonely person in your class or the lonely person in your workplace, maybe he's an incel and he's not letting you know and he's just kind of afraid he wants someone positive. Just be nice, say hi, try and make friends with him. You don't have to date him, you don't have to whatever, just, you know, brighten up someone lonely's day, I suppose.
We live in a society where being nice is radical. And that's a nice woman. That's a nice girl. You can tell.
Got it. Thank you.
You don't want to be an incel?
No.
Why not?
Well, I mean, it's part of the whole involuntarily thing. I mean, you know, you want to try and escape it. You want to be something better. You know, you want to get a wife, get a girlfriend, get someone who loves you, spend your life with them, and be happy. And
What's one thing?
You notice how she's completely silent there, and she doesn't react? It's like at that moment, it hits her. All this man wants is probably what she wants. But, you know, she wants Chad, not this dorky-looking, pretty wide-framed dude. Honestly, if he worked out, he could probably get ripped.
What's one thing you wish people understood better about you?
I don't know. I guess I wish people would recognize how much effort I'm trying, I suppose. Like, you know, I'm working out typically daily. I've lost over 100 pounds. I'm out there job hunting actively. I don't think people...
So this is another nice woman. You can tell by the question, you can tell by the reactions, and he's doing good. It's self-improvement. This dude's not an incel. It's a stupid label. I'm sick of it.
Recognize how much effort the incels in general try to put into bettering themselves. I would say, you know, people don't recognize their effort. They just assume that they're all lazy and sad and angry at women and just giving up and things of that nature, I suppose. you don't have to see the bad things in the world and then come out a bad person. You can just see the bad things in the world and then improve upon yourself because of them, I suppose.
You know, that's pretty much the video here. But I want you to look at the comments and the replies, because this is what disturbs me the most, and this is what proves that the left-wingers have gone so far left. Kristen Opel says, "That guy. Everyone wants someone who's an equal. Also that guy. I believe only men should be leaders." First of all, he didn't say that. He said men should be leaders. There's a difference. Second of all, it's true. Men and women are not equal. Don't believe me? Let's arm wrestle. Who do you think will win? You have a bunch of virtue signaling people in this goddamn video. Maybe he'll be able to find a girlfriend if he stopped looking for a maid. Wherever did he say that? Why do these leftists think that being a good wife means being a maid? It means being a good wife. You don't want a husband? You don't want a family? Fine. Go out there. End up like all those other women who are 40 years old with no family, no prospects, not even dating. And they all say they regret it. Most of them do. Now here's something that really annoys me. Mara Faye says, "Constant years of rejection. Sounds like you're the problem, my guy." Oh, I hate this mentality. I hate this mentality because it's one part of human bias. You see, when we see someone else fail, we believe it was something that they did that caused them to fail. However, if you are in the exact same situation, you believe that it wasn't your fault that you failed, but rather something external to you caused you to fail. Maybe you were unlucky. Maybe your boss was really mean. Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't your day. However, if you see someone else fail, it's like, oh, it must be your fault. That's a bias. That is a real bias that affects everyone. It happens on all sorts of scales. This person is a moron. These people prove my point. They prove why society has gotten so screwed. It's because of these people, these leftists. They think they're insane. And there's a lot of women in here who are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. How dare he say traditional, normal, conservative values?" Well, here's a surprise. Most people aren't leftists. Most normal people believe everything he believes, even if it's just instinctively. Oh man, I don't know why I covered this. I guess I just like to suffer. But that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think? Do you think this incel interview was accurate? Did you like my reaction? Do you want me to do more reaction videos? Do you want me to suffer? Be sure to let me know. Now, as always, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar for as low as $1 if you want to support the channel. And if you do join, you will get access to Fight Club, a private Discord server. There's also PayPal and Bitcoin if you're interested. All that's in the description, including my social media. Be sure to follow me, especially on Twitter. I'll shit post there, and sometimes I'll have news. And sharing my videos is a huge help. Trust me, they're just not sharing videos these days. They're not even sending them out to the people who've subscribed. It's nonsense. YouTube's trying to suppress us. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.